Afternoon, everybody. My Recovery Center. This is our coffee and conversation meeting for the day. This article I picked is Five Reasons Recovery is a Lifelong Process. And this is by okrehab.org. So if you like this article, you can go to okrehab.org. And I want to let you guys know it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So if you guys didn't know, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we'll hop right into it. So five reasons recovery is a lifelong process. There's a wildly dangerous myth circulating that recovery is only a 30-day treatment process. Get in and get out. Do the detox, do the counseling, you're set for life, aren't you? Unfortunately, this is not the case for most individuals. Achieving lifelong sobriety is, you guessed it, a lifelong journey. Your path to recovery will include troughs and peaks with sharp turns and bends. You may even get lost on occasion. This is normal and why we are call it a lifelong process. Think of it as your yellow brick road. It's also important to consider your recovery journey as a marathon, not the sprint or competition. 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 Thank you. Lifelong recovery is more achievable with a slow and steady pace. No two recovery journeys are the same. As everyone is different, there's no need to keep up with others or try to beat anyone. This lifelong journey requires dedication, patience, and persistence to reach your goal, but is worth it in the end. Recovering from drug and alcohol abuse is a process that you'll probably find yourself thinking about throughout your life. What will likely start as a treatment plan at a rehab center will continue through the years with many different layers and stages to your recovery. The points below shed further light on why recovery is a lifelong journey. And these are one of the things I really didn't understand when I was in active addiction. And like I came in recovery and like it talks about just doing a detox or just doing a 30-day program. I didn't know this was like a lifelong process of recovery. Like I always went in, came out, and never did nothing afterwards. Like that's this one thing I did do different this time was aftercare, and that can be overwhelming. Like I look at it as like this is gonna be, I have to do this the rest of my life. I have to go to meetings. I have to do this and do that. There's many pathways. So I'm just telling you guys what worked for me. And I go to NA. I go to 12-step fellowship, and I do church, and I'm in service to other to my family, to my friends, and I didn't know I had to do this to the rest of my life, and that was overwhelming at first, and I didn't simplify it as like just let me do it for today, just let me focus on today. When tomorrow comes, I'll handle it, but don't focus on like I have to do this the rest of my life, or I could never use drugs and alcohol again, right? And which is true, right, for me, but I overwhelmed myself with that, right? So just try to focus on the moment. Just for today, I don't have to use drugs and alcohol. Just for today, I can go to a meeting and live a good life. Tomorrow will come and I'll deal with it then. So we'll go to number one. Treatment is only the beginning. Recovery doesn't end when the treatment plan does. Treatment programs and rehab centers are essential in providing support therapies and medications to exorcise the harmful substance from your body and start the sobriety journey. Therefore, a treatment program will arm you with the tools you need to start your journey, but it's just the start. The recovery journey is not just 30 or 90 days long. It's a lifelong. A recovery plan will get you started, but learning all you need to know about recovery will take patience and time. However, there's plenty of evidence to suggest that the longer you spend in treatment, the more successful you will be in recovery. Indeed, that makes the wait worth it. Yeah, patience and tolerance is one of them. Sometimes we want things now. We want to recover now. But I looked at it as like it took me many, many years to get here, right? So I wasn't too patient then. So I have to be patient each day, each moment sometimes, and things will come. We always want instant gratification. We want things now. We want things our way, and it just doesn't work that way. And it talks about 30, 60, 90 days, right? And talks about the beginnings of treatment, right? That's treatment programs. Go on, Andy. Um, is the beginning, right? It's just scratching the surface when you go to treatment, right? It's important because we first have to put the drugs and alcohol down, right? But that's just scratching the surface, right? Like I said, this is a lifelong process, and it takes time. It takes patience. We do gain things back, in time. I can't expect from years of active addiction and come into recovery and gaining things back. Then it just doesn't work that way. I wish it did, but it doesn't. You know. So we'll go to number 2. Your recovery should always be your priority. No matter how busy life gets, no matter how many hours you work or how many chores pile up around the house, your recovery should always be your priority. Your recovery may start with deciding to enter a treatment plan, but you'll have to consistently make other decisions and make your recovery top of your list throughout your life. This is because your recovery will be a continuous process that will regularly change, requiring new effort and thought. Unfortunately, there is no magic cure for alcohol and drug abuse. Instead, for successful lifelong recovery, you'll have to make your health your priority and make the time to do things that aid your recovery. That may be meditation, going to Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous, groups and meetings, prayer, reading, self-help literature, or all of the above. And addiction, be prepared to make a renewed commitment now and again as life tests you. Just like any other chronic illness, recovery is possible when you learn to manage your condition for life. And I learned that early on too. You have to make your recovery first in front of everything. If you don't, that's the first thing you'll lose is your recovery. And I like to learn from others' mistakes than my own today. I came in, I had learned from my mistakes before, but it's easier to learn from others. And it happens when you lose sight of what your goal is, and when you lose sight of your recovery. Slowly but surely that can go away. And I don't want that to happen. If you really cherish something or you really want to live, you have to put this first before anybody, anything. I'm not saying put that on everything else on the wayside, right? I learned to manage my recovery and my relationships, my life, my job, but early on in the beginning, recovery was top of the list, and it still is. But I have a full life today, which recovery gave me, right? So recovery gave me life. So why would I put that on the back burner and try to lose that in the process too? I don't want to lose sight of what gave me life. You know what I mean? So we'll go to number 3. Recovery is a layered process. Talk about peeling the onion back. Unfortunately, many will have begun a treatment program but not made it far enough to reach long-term recovery. Problems often arise when the treatment program focuses on aftercare, relapse prevention, and long-term sobriety. Sober living, the best and most successful treatment plan for recovery involves a layered process as per the below. So we have 4 stages here. Let's see. Yes. So stage 1, the recovery process usually begins with drug or medical detox, dependent on the individual type and extent of substance abuse. Although a challenge process, it is essential for ridding your body of damaging substance and starting the abstinence process. I truly believe that. I can't recover or be in recovery without putting the drugs and alcohol down first. That's first. That's the first step you have to do. Everything else will come, right? Everything else will, trust and believe, everything else will come, but you have to put the drugs and alcohol down first. Stage 2, patients will then enter a treatment program. And again, it can vary depending on the individual, but will often include rehab care, a full-time residential program, or plans with less intensive levels of care. These include partial outpatient treatments, intensive outpatient treatments, or hospitalization. Rehab contains several aspects that many may be familiar with, including medical interventions, talking therapies, and group counseling. I always tell people, like, well, especially our participants, like detox. It depends on everybody's different. Everybody's got different stories. People use different drugs and alcohol. So usually the detox part is first, then the residential, and it can be up to 30 days. I always tell them, like, take it all. You might as well take it all. Why not? What do you got to lose? You really, we're already stuck in some bad ways. Why give recovery a shot? Give it a chance. And detox can lead to like 7-10 days, and residential can be 21 days. So 30, say overall 30 days, right? I always hear, like, try to do 90 meetings in 90 days, right? You heard that before. And if not, your misery is refunded to you, right? So, like, it's at the door. You can always revisit it, right? So it's like, give recovery a shot. Do the detox, do the residential. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a chance to heal and deal and have a good life. That's the one thing I never did. I never gave myself a shot. I always, like, downplayed myself. I can't do this. I can't do that. So I was like my worst enemy. I already counted myself out before I even tried. And it takes time. Like, I was so wrapped up in substance abuse, like, between drugs and alcohol. I was so lost and confused. I didn't know left from right. So it takes time. We can't. I think I touched on it earlier. You can't put the drugs and alcohol down and expect us to heal. I'm still, and it talks about a lifelong process. Until the day I die, I'm gonna have to be in this process of recovery. I need recovery each day. I need it every day. So it just doesn't stop. It's an ongoing process, and it just takes time. It takes time. We'll go to stage 3. Unfortunately, many treatment plans fall down because they don't focus enough on aftercare. In contrast, a sturdy aftercare program is essential in building a robust recovery course. Aftercare can be found in several ways, but many individuals find this in a halfway house or a sober living facility. The staff at your recovery center can help you find the correct aftercare, which may include teachings about mental health support, accountability, and life coaching. Staff on those on a recovery journey. Find local clinicians, psychiatrists, physicians, and recovery groups. Sorry. So clinicians, physicians, and recovery groups. So some of it talks about, like, therapy, counseling, peer recovery coaches, as I am. So I try to do the most I can. Like, I'm in therapy. I have a sponsor. I go to church. So there's things. That's what aftercare is about. It's like, what do you do after you get out of detox, and the aftercare part. It's a lifelong process. And what do I do on a daily basis to keep up my recovery? Prayer, meditation, meetings, support groups. There's a lot of things that you can do for your recovery, and you have to find out what works for you. Here at Catholic Recovery Center, we welcome all pathways to recovery. What might work for me might not work for you. But we try to help you find your way. And like I always talk about, it always takes time. Everything serves its purpose, right? Always in our parts of our life, things do us well, right? And some things don't. But I have to find out what works for me and what works for you. And I found my purpose and found my ways to recover. And thank God for that. I get to find out who I am and who I'm not. Because we're like Mr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I heard that a lot too. And I know who I want to be and who I don't want to be. And that's all through, recovery process. So we'll go to stage 4. This may be the last piece of the puzzle, but it's no less important than the first. Ongoing support is another reason recovery is a lifelong process. The chances of success reducing without it. Recovery requires all layers for success and ongoing support for sobriety. Via support groups, meetings, and individual counseling such as CBT and talking therapies, many in addiction recovery find support groups essential in allowing them to reintegrate into the work and home lives, allowing for a safe and reassuring environment for long-term sobriety. And addiction research has found that is long-term continued care is vital in ensuring the long-term recovery of those trying to recover from addiction. It talks about the last piece of the puzzle. And it talks about it again. Support groups, meetings, counseling. That's all essential. That's all vital. That's what we need. That's what I need. That's one thing I didn't do in active addiction. We have a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and a lot of wounds that we have to deal with. We can't just get in recovery and put drugs and alcohol down and think that we're going to be okay. I think not even as addicts, just people in the world in general need support, need help. Some of us need counseling, therapy. Like, all that stuff is good. Like, there's no right way or wrong way to help yourself in recovery. But you have to, put the work in. It takes time. It takes work. So we'll go to number 4. Challenges to your recovery. Recovery brings a whole new way of living, a better way of living, but it doesn't take away all the problems that life brings. Our lives will always be full of hardships and grief, from work, money problems, relationship issues, to losing loved ones. No matter how hard you work to prepare for when a crisis shocks, the negative emotions and feelings that come from life stressful events will find a way to creep in, find other coping mechanisms that don't revolve around drinking alcohol or using drugs. Is a integral part of the process. So your sobriety isn't at risk. This is where a relapse prevention plan is beneficial in making new lifelong patterns to replace old ones. Set yourself up for long-term success. That's my aim. And I tell a lot of people lifelong success. So that's what my goal is. And you can't prepare for life. You can try, you can try, but I try to take things how they come, and I know for fact, if I don't use drugs or alcohol, things will work out. I can't use no matter what comes my way. Because when I got in recovery, I had all my family was still alive and stuff like that. When I got in recovery, man, I had one after another pass away. You know what I mean? So you can't prepare for stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I just knew if I held on, and it talks about, I didn't have coping skills. My coping skills was using drugs and alcohol. It was all unhealthy coping skills. I didn't know how to manage my emotions and feelings. I didn't talk about that. I suppressed all that with drugs and alcohol. I used that all in negative ways, and I learned that, I can't use. Second, talk about it. You're surprised how much talking can really stay in solution, right? Just don't get the efforts. You know what I mean? It's just, I want things my way, and it just doesn't work that way. If I stop, I'll listen, and just process things will work out no matter what. If it's my way, how I want things to work out, or if it's not, it's going to work out regardless. But yeah, challenges in recovery, man, life can throw you doozies, it's a ride. Talk about the roller coaster. You got to hold on and just take things as they come. And I've seen that. I've seen that evidence in my life. I got through a lot of things. I've come up with 6 years, and I had a lot of stuff go on. Things worked out. So why wouldn't it still work out for me? So I'd rather not use, right, and deal with things on a healthy level. I feel better about myself when I'm actually facing my challenges than running from them. That's the main thing I used to do is run from my challenges. Put the mask on. Let's go to number 5. This is the last one. Mind over matter. As mentioned earlier, the myth that recovery ends when people leave rehab is dangerous, given the impression that those in recovery heal when they finish the program. However, because becoming addicted to substance changes your brain, especially the reward circuits in your brain, you no longer appreciate standard rewards in the same way as before. Usually, pleasant occurrences such as eating and socializing just won't cut it anymore. Because of this, you must try to change your mindset and create thought patterns appointed for long-term sobriety as your recovery changes over time. So will your perspective. It's essential to accept from the beginning that reaching sobriety isn't something that can, let's go here, be just done and dusted, never be thought of again. You'll need to make time for yourself daily to work on your mindset and allow yourself to be dedicated to yourself, to your recovery. Essential practices for working on your mindset can include meditating, mindfulness, attending therapy sessions, sober group meetings, or any combination of these. Throughout your life, remember that this may be a lifelong process, but it shouldn't and doesn't need to be done alone. With the right amount of support and treatment, you can live a whole life of sobriety. Of course, other days will be more challenging than others. So on those days, make sure you rely on the healthy support system and the relapse prevention plan that you put in place. Recovery is a gradual process that will always require patience, positivity, growing, and learning, but will become much easier in time. I like how it talked about you don't have to be alone. And I try to do that a lot of my life is do things on my own. I didn't not have to ask for help. Um, and each day, life does throw you things. But if I don't let it fester up in me, right, that's because we don't tell on ourselves. Like things go on, how we're feeling, how we're thinking. We have to trust somebody. We don't have to trust everybody, but we have to trust somebody. And it talks about your support group. So, like, I have a sponsor, I have a pastor, I have good people in my life that I can trust and I can talk to. So these things I don't let it, I obsess and get frustrated and get angry with. And listen, I can screw up stuff without drugs and alcohol. I can, right? We all can, right? But like I have people I can talk to that people are just like me, relatable. That makes me feel good. I think also in recovery, like I thought I was different. I thought I was like the only one that thought this way or did things, right? But since I've been in recovery and talked to other recovering addicts, like they're just like me. So like I'm not alone, right? I'm not different. Right. I just put that in my head because I just want to use more drugs and alcohol. You know what I mean? So like our brains are tricky. It talks about we're like short circuit, right? And that's all due to, using drugs and alcohol. And a lot of it, I talked about mental health awareness month, and a lot of it's co-occurring. That's really big nowadays. Because I've learned that you can't treat the one without the other because usually the one takes over and then you're back where square one. And so I just highly suggest get professional help. I'm a recovery coach. I can help you so much, but get with counseling, therapy, all that stuff is beneficial. Sometimes medication's needed. Whatever works for you. That's always tell whatever works for you and helps you in recovery. I'm all for it. But that was a pretty good article. I like that. So that was our coffee conversation meeting for the day. 5 reasons recovery is a lifelong process. And if you like this article, you can go to okrehab.org. Remember, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. Like I said, my name is Carl. I'm a recovery coach at Catholic Recovery Center. You guys are more than welcome to always come in. Until next time, we'll see you later.